Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Minister of Transport and Works Julian Francis is calling for a reformation in transportation operations in this country. Minister Francis, who was speaking in Parliament last Friday on the motion of transportation of school children, called on road users, particularly minibus drivers, to be more responsible. Francis noted that while there are some who are doing a great job, there are others who are giving minibus operators a bad name. The Transport and Works Minister further made a call to have the Road Traffic Act reviewed.
In 2015, 1,241 vehicles were imported into the country. In 2016, 1,688 vehicles were imported into the country. In 2015 and in 2017 so far, we have each month runs over 100 vehicles. January 124, 104, 171, 173, 164, 153, 171, 167. Every time you see the car boat comes in there. So we have to be able to live among this forest that we have. And it's an attitude that we have to develop. We have to change the attitude, and to do it, we have to do it by setting the laws, and we have to change and upgrade the Road Traffic Act.
Minister Francis expressed strong concern with the loud music being played in many minibuses, noting this could have dire consequences for their passengers.
I have absolutely no doubt that the hearing of our school children who travel in those vans are being diminished daily in this country. And they will get deaf long before they reach 50 if they continue to operate in those vans. I'm not going to call no names, but we know the vans. I am pleading to these young men who own these vans to cut it out. Please, the police ought to be controlling. But I want to say this, that there are also policemen who own vans who are as guilty as some of the operators. And I will say that because I know it.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has accused the opposition New Democratic Party, or the NDP, of being negligent to the needs of the nation's children. In Parliament on Friday, Prime Minister Gonsalves said the absence of the members on the opposition side for the debate on the transport motion is an indication that they do not care much about the nation's children. According to the Prime Minister, with some 28,000 school children across the country, part of the education revolution is to also ensure that proper transportation is provided for all.
Children are on the road, Mr. Speaker, walking late in the night, even as near as from North Union Secondary School to South Rivers, from North Union Secondary School to Connery and Park Hill. They have to walk. People have to walk from Georgetown Bishop's College, subsequently Georgetown Secondary School, Mr. Speaker. Walk to come to Connery. There's no bus. But what happened? The NDP government gave themselves in this parliament duty-free concessions before they even thought of giving to minibus operators to take people's school children. And today, they are absent without leave. They are a frolic of their own.
Dr. Gonsalves said besides ensuring that the roads are properly maintained and providing transport allowances for needy students, his government has also been ensuring that they give duty-free concessions, particularly to vessels operating to and from the Grenadines transporting school children.
They don't pay duty, you know. I want everybody to hear that. They don't pay duty. And then, under the law, and when we did the Shipping Act, we made sure that duty-free, tax-free, sorry, Mr. Speaker, on incomes from ships between the Grenadines and St. Vincent and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So the income earned on all those vessels which come in duty-free, there is no taxes charged on the income, you know, Mr. Speaker. That's the second way we help. I wonder if the people in the Grenadines know that.
With many of the state funds being utilized to refurbish broken rails throughout this country, Queen's Counsel Parnell Campbell said it should instead be the responsibility of the insurance companies to pay for the rebuilding of state property. Speaking on his Law and You television program on SVG-TV last evening on the topic Vehicular Damage to Public Property, Campbell said too often government foots the bill when the third-party insurance should pay up.
If a vehicle runs off the road and damages someone's property, be it their fence or their house or the porch of their house, then the company which has insured that vehicle is liable to the owner of the property which has been damaged under the third-party insurance laws. Similarly, if a vehicle damages property belonging to the public, in other words, a government back wall or a side wall or a barrier, such as we have on the edge of the road along Casson Hill, then the responsibility for fixing that damaged barrier falls on the company which has insured the vehicle which collided with the barrier in the first place, causing it to be damaged.
The Queen's Counsel said that if the insurance company refuses to pay up, the government can take the company to court.
What should follow is a letter from the governmental authorities to the insurance company saying, on such and such a date at such and such a time, vehicle number so-and-so, insured by your company, damaged this barrier. It will cost X amount of dollars to be repaired, and the government is calling on you, the insurance company, to pay that amount of money so that the barrier could be repaired. And if the insurance company doesn't in due course pay the money, the government simply takes the insurance company to court seeking damages for the destruction to the barrier at the side of the road.
The National Emergency Management Organization, or NEMO, is appealing to coastal residents here to be vigilant and prepared for possible storm surge and isolated pockets of moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorms as a result of the movements of Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma is now a dangerous Category 5 hurricane. According to information from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Meteorological Services, although Hurricane Irma is to the north of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there is still a possibility of high surf, isolated pockets of moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorms. The small craft warning and high surf advisory for St. Vincent and the Grenadines are also still in effect. Persons living on or operating businesses along the coast in the following areas are to exercise caution and be on the alert for possible storm surge. Langley Park, Grand Sable, Byra, Gorse, Connery, Mount Grennan, Sanssouci, South Union, Bayaboo, Brighton, Villa, Caliqua, Rose Place, Kittel's, Lomans Bay, Layou, Barreley, Curtains, Rosebank, and Chateaubelair. Coastal residents in the Grenadine Islands are also asked to exercise extreme caution. Mariners and fisherfolk are encouraged to take all the necessary precautions to secure boats and equipment. Residents living in low-lying areas, areas prone to land slippage, and areas along the riverbanks are also asked to be on the alert and take the necessary precautions, especially residents in the following areas who have been affected in the past: South Rivers, Connery, Sandy Bay, Mount Young, Basin Hole, London, Owea, Fancy, Spring Village, Vermont, Bookament, and Chateaubelair. The National Hurricane Center is also issuing advisories on recently formed Tropical Storm Jose, located over the central Atlantic. Jose poses no immediate threat to land and is currently projected to move north of the Leeward Islands by Saturday, away from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincentians must develop a sense of pride in their own beauty if they are to avoid the pitfalls associated with using skin bleaching products. That is the advice given by social activist Cecil Ryan as he spoke on WeFM's Issues at Hand program, discussing the effects of skin bleaching products on the health of the public. Ryan stated that a significant factor in the use of such products, as well as the increase in crime and violence and other ills of society, is through the programming put out by some service providers, adding that such providers have a responsibility in helping to build a better nation.
They should be more responsible to help to create a society that is less of violence, less of this kind of vile behavior.
Yeah.
Less of,
and
you know.
Song and dance.
Yeah. Is that all
Nothing wrong
we're
with
good
song
about?
and dance, but
That's not all that we're about.
That of that. All
and I think,
I mean,
and I was talking later.
Every single one of them,
every
including
single
the
one,
local ones.
Every single one. And we were talking.
Flick the channel some.
And Peter, all the things we were talking about this morning, the violence, the bleaching thing, all located within that, and these things help to create that kind of culture of violence, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's violence against women, abuse of children,
drink and drunk,
whether it's drink and drunk, the vile behavior, the senseless beat that you get. These things are what help to fuel what we're talking about, the bleaching of young men doing the bleaching.
Ryan said while he believes that the use of skin bleaching products is one's personal responsibility, one must develop a sense of love and appreciation for their own unique beauty, as well as this will prevent him or her from falling victims to the pitfalls of such products.
That's a personal decision a man or woman makes. But as you said, Pigeon, we can only discourage the use of it because of the health implication and the implication of cost.
And we have to let our children know that they're beautiful.
Well, that's the whole thing.
And genuinely show that they're beautiful.
But I'm amazed that, to be honest, I had no idea that this thing was so widespread. Because it had become the norm that when you see a black face, regardless to the shape or whatever the shade of blackness, it's such a beautiful experience to look at a black face, a black figure, a person, man or woman, you know. Why would they want to change that kind of beauty and expose themselves to something that can become so ugly and disfigured?
And issues relating to the transfer of police officers and the restructuring of the RSVG police force were discussed on Sunday's edition of Magic 103.7's Sunday Brunch program. The panelists discussed a number of concerns within the RSVG police force, including the transfer and charges laid against members of the Police Welfare Association, stemming from a leaked WhatsApp voice note detailing an intent to, quote, storm the Prime Minister's office, unquote, in order to have various issues addressed. Speaking on the issue of transfers and whether they can be seen as punishment or a reward was retired Coast Guard Commander Tyrone James, who stated that previously persons were only transferred if they were being punished. James added that today, unless that officer is being transferred to what is considered an elite department, that officer will consider his or her transfer as punishment.
With regard to the culture of the organization, transfers are seen generally as punishment, because historically that is what it has been used as. You're dissatisfied with the performance of an individual, you move him. And even when transfers are done, because there may be a need for a sergeant in a particular place, and so on, generally you will say, let us send him, let us move Sergeant X there because, man, he has no behavior. He leaps and he down there. So even when it's a positive thing, there's a negative connotation attached to it. And the only times where people accept transfers as being positive, it's where people are moved to a unit where they think it's a elite or top unit. So if a man is transferred to CID, he feels that's a good thing. Okay? But if you transfer him to an outstation, he feels he's punished.
In reference to the words storming the Prime Minister's office and whether it showed intent to cause harm, lawyer Jamali John stated that from his position, the words simply mean that the officers wanted to visit the Prime Minister unannounced to have matters of concern heard.
It is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Nobody can go to the Prime Minister's office to do anything there, really, without serious machinery or some, whatever. So when you look at the word storm, in our Vincentian context, it simply means unannounced. Usually you go by appointment or invitation, but to show up there without formal communication or announcement, you're just going there unannounced with the intention that this would somehow catch wind in the news and it will bring the issues to the forefront in the public. That's all it means.
That's right.
And I think that any sensible commissioner or magistrate or judge looking at this word in the context in which it was used could only come to that conclusion. What else could it mean? So even to use the word barging or storm, I mean, let's be real, please.
Also on the program was President of the Public Service Union, Elroy Boucher, who stated that in order for the RSVG police force to be effective in its role of providing a public service, serious restructuring of the organization is necessary.
What you have had over the years, and I don't know if there's a change in government, the next government is really going to have it difficult. It will be difficult. Definitely. Because these persons are in position. The instruments in the Constitution, that's why our union have the government in court. The instruments in the Constitution were not followed. And they're there for a purpose. So you have in positions of importance, in positions where the public have to be served, you have persons in those positions who have arrived there not by a procedure set out in the regulations, but by whether it is nepotism, favoritism, whatever ism it is. And therefore you cannot have them functioning in the best interest of the delivery of service within the public service. So it is going to be extremely difficult to change that.